You are listening to The Building Code, a podcast by Buildertrend where we talk all things technology and construction. Be sure to stick around to the end of the episode where you can find out how to be a part of the Building Code crew. Let's get it. Welcome, Blaise, to the podcast. First time, but I've known you for a long time, so I'm happy to have you here finally.
Thank you.
Everything good?
Everything's great.
That's
it's
awesome.
A beautiful sunny day in Victoria, British Columbia. So,
well, lucky. I hate doing this on the podcast because these don't come out like at the time we're talking, but I can't help but mention in Omaha, Nebraska, which we're in the middle of the country in U.S., we have had 3 days straight of a high being in a single digit, and we're looking at about 5 more straight days of that. So like it's a low time right now for us. So I'm glad that you weather-wise are doing well. Blaise, you're with Mac Renovations. For anybody who doesn't know, why don't we start there? Can you give the listeners just sort of the top to bottom look at your company and how you're all set up?
Yeah, Mac Renovations. My dad started Mac Renovations in 1980. I've been fully involved in the company since about 2009. Before that, just myself and just about all my friends had dug a ditch or two for Mac Reno. So he's still involved. He was supposed to retire this year, but he's got nowhere to go except the golf course. So
yeah.
He's been hanging around and we're busy. So
that's great. Good. How many people do you have now?
I think we're just at 36. We do, last 3 years, we've been around the 9 to 10 million mark. We faltered a little bit last year, but not by much. I think we finished at 8.5.
Okay, cool.
So average job size is like 150 to 175. So.
Okay. Mainly all renovations, right? You guys don't do new structures.
No, I mean, this year we opened a custom home building division just because we've done 1 or 2 over the last couple of years, and then we've lined up about 3 or 4 for the next couple of years. So,
if I remember right, last time I talked to you, I think we were at a trade show, which those days are gone and hopefully back again. But did you guys buy an old cool building where you're at and then renovate it for your office?
Yeah, it was. We did what we tell all our clients not to do. We bought it. It'd been a restaurant for about 50, 60 years. It's in a place called Rural Saanich, which is just outside of one of the major municipalities. I mean, Victoria, we're on the tip of Vancouver Island, so there's waterfront all the way around. But
awesome.
It's nice in the middle. So
cool. So you guys bought an old restaurant and just renovated it?
Renovated it. We ended up tearing it to the ground, and we just saved like 3 foundation walls.
Oh, you showed me a picture of that. Like there was just like one thing sticking up, and you're like, "Yeah, it's our renovation."
Yeah. And I mean, if someone had told me that's how it would have unfolded, we probably wouldn't have done it. But I'm glad we did, and I got a little bit more grays in my beard and a little less hair on my head because of it. So
all right, so you're on Instagram, Mac Renos. Have you ever posted a photo of the wall that was the one standing thing yet on your old?
No, but I should, because we've been here for about 3 years now. So
why don't you do that, and I'll have everybody follow you and have a look out for that. So once you listen to this, if you haven't already, it's a great follow on Instagram. It's just all lowercase, all one word, Mac Renos. Give Blaise and Mac Renovations a follow, and then he's going to post that photo for you of their.
Yeah, we'll do the before and after.
Yeah, because it's really cool. So that's awesome. Okay, so you guys have about 30 plus employees. Does that mean you're doing a lot of carpentry yourself?
That's about half and half. So there's we have interior designers and project managers and office staff, and then there's about 18 in the field, lead carpenters, apprentices, and laborers, and then we sub.
Yeah. And how long have you been running as the operator owner of Mac? I know your dad was going to retire last year, but was there a shift a few years ago or?
Yeah, I mean, I came on in 2012. I finished a construction management degree. I came in full time as the operations manager, and I stepped into the president role last year.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking to myself, and look, this is a series where we're talking about 2020, and we want to go back and talk all the negative, but most of the company owners I've talked to that have had that size of employees, man, that's a heavy burden to carry when something like COVID hits, where it's just so unknown, right?
Well, I know, and we had a lot of early. We were deemed an essential service, so we were allowed to keep going. But there's a lot of social pressure to kind of shut down. And no one knew what was going on and how serious it was. Not that it's not serious; it's just not affecting it quite. And the other thing too is, I mean, our guys are, I mean, we're Southern Vancouver Island, rainforest. There's a lot of rot, there's rodents, and, you know, so we're used to being safe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, safety is our number one priority. So
you were set up well in that respect.
yeah, I mean, we did hygiene assessments for all the jobs, and we set the guys up with hygiene kits and just, you know, made it work.
Figured it out. Yeah, I mean, and that's, you know, that's another thing we're hearing in this regional podcast is like we're an industry of, you know, just figure it out anyway. So
Yeah.
you know, it was the types of business owners that I know in this industry we just kind of put that hat back on and kept going. Now in Canada, you're our first Canadian company that we're to talk about. Were the regulations and the decisions about essential and non-essential, are they coming like they were here state by state or province by province, or was there more of a national guideline?
It was set up by the province. Vancouver Island we had like 0 cases for a long time.
Oh wow.
And even now our community spread is quite low. But you know, as far as, I mean, it's the same as anyway. It's hard to have a national
Mm-hmm.
board, but the province did a pretty good job, I think, of, you know, putting the regulations in place. So.
Yeah. And how did you keep up with that? I know the NAHB here in the United States, National Association of Home Builders, and NARI did a really good job of lobbying our government, but also communicating to the individual business owners, like, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to be looking out for. You know, we did our PPP loan, things like that. Do you guys have the same sort of organizations there in Canada that were helping sort of give you the play-by-play?
Yeah, I sit on the board of directors for the Canadian Home Builders Association of Vancouver Island, and then we're also a member of VICA, which is the Vancouver Island Construction Association. So they deal with more of commercial and large projects. So as the board of directors, we were meeting once a week, and then I was leaning on my RA. We were meeting once a week as well, and then my business coach and a small group of contractors, we were meeting weekly.
Oh, nice.
So just trying to, at first it was just trying to temper that stream of information that was coming at you. And I found too, as the guys were going home and listening to whatever, and they'd come back and kind of have to pull them back together in on Monday. You know, I mean, it was abruptly negative for us. Like we went from, you know, March, we usually 119 leads. We went to like 19 out of 30 projects in design. 22 of them went on hold. You know, 6 of them canceled. It was
wow.
We were pumping the brakes hard.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good. Yeah, I guess we haven't got into that. It's like when you are a president or, you know, an operation, the person who runs the entire company or an owner, you know, we haven't really got into like, you're also like, you know, CEO of morale. Like you had to kind of keep everybody calm. And, you know, you have so many different personalities inside of a construction business. You got the field people, you got the office people. Yeah. And in this internet age, they're getting information God knows where. Right. And so you're having to bring back. So did you kind of ramp up the amount of meetings you were having, things like that? Or
we had a weekly meeting where we would talk to the entire field staff on Zoom. You know, it was kind of hard, but instead of laying everybody off, we heard that they might have this. We didn't have PPE; it was Canadian wage subsidy. We heard that was coming, so we basically broke everybody into teams: design, production, sales and marketing, and then safety. And we set up a priority sheet, and we'd have a Zoom call for half an hour, talk about priorities, and send everybody off. And we tackled through, like it was stuff like the designers didn't want to go out into people's houses and measure them. So what do we do? So we bought a Matterport camera, and we were doing 3D scans, and that way only one person had to go in.
Right. Got
laser measures instead of tape measures for those. So, and then even in the office, we switched to, you know, we're a 40-year-old company. I mean, we've been using Buildertrend since 2010. I think we were talking there in the break. It was October at the Chicago Remodeling Show.
Yep, that's right.
You know, so as long as we've been using BT, we don't use it to its full, because we have systems that we've been working with for a long time. So, you know, we switched to all our AP to paperless. You know, so just all the process that you have to put in the back end, it's huge. But you know, when you have that kind of, when you're able to make that kind of change, it's good to take advantage of it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a quote, never waste a good crisis, right? And that applies to this more than anything, especially in construction. As you know, I've been at Buildertrend since the beginning, 14 years plus, and it's like I know as well as anybody the difficulty of explaining to construction companies not only what we do in the offering, but then getting people to change habits, like workflows inside of a construction industry. Those are really hard to do. And I think one of the positives that came out of this is that when forced, like there's no other choice. Like we've got this platform, so we better start using it. It was funny when you were telling me that you would have Zoom calls with all of your field staff. I bet you have some stories about trying to get them up to date on Zoom and like mute buttons and all kinds of stuff, I assume.
Well, try and get 18 carpenters to sign into a Zoom call on their phones.
Right.
Mute.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And there's war stories all over the place for that. So it sounds like you went through a typical running of COVID-19 last year, which is March 15th it hits and lead stop, design stops, people cancel contracts, we put things on pause. In the United States, from people I've talked to, that was typically about 2 months, right? Like probably all of March, all of April. Then May, it kind of opened up again. People felt a little confident. Was that similar to where you're at as well?
Yeah. And if I go back and look at the leads, that's how they started to ramp up again too, right? Because people, it just affected people so differently, right? Like their income levels and our clients, the majority of our clients aren't negatively affected. They've made their money. They're older. They have, our property values in Victoria, British Columbia have skyrocketed over $1 million for an average single family dwelling. I think a realtor told me yesterday that property owners in Victoria are making 10 grand a month on their house.
Oh, wow.
So we just kind of plugged along. So instead of laying everybody off and we hit the gym. We were working on our processes, and I have to say it's we have different problems now.
Yeah. Those aren't going to go away, but it sounds like you spun a negative into a positive, at least business process wise, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
And we were able to retain everybody. A couple of people were let go that probably should have been a long time ago, but now we're just trying to find people. That's the
other thing here too, is that, it sounds like for you, you had mentioned off cuff about your business that you went down a little bit last year in terms of total revenue, but that was probably because of those 2 months and, making some changes there. Do you see 2021 like everybody else being a big boom?
Yeah, we're struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
What happened that, losing those two months, and we had a bit of a soft start to the year, just the amount of work that we pushed through the winter last year. We probably, we had a little bit of a stumble with some big contracts in January and February before COVID hit. But we just didn't have the momentum to build it back up. And, our machine it takes a lot to slow it down. It takes a lot to get it back up. So usually in the summer, we're hiring framing crews and finishing crews, and that 18-person production team grows to about 30 or 40 with all the subs. We didn't do that this year, so we kept a lot of stuff in house. I was just looking at the ratios. We're usually like 9% is our internal labor of our costs, and we were sitting more like 14.
Okay.
So subcontractor went down and labor went up. So we didn't make as much money on those projects, but we kept everybody busy.
Yeah.
And we were able to retain the talent, which was, in the long haul. That's
awesome. And that's such it's like you take a personal look and it's like, well, company might take a hit, but this is the right thing to do for my people. That's awesome. So when you say labor shortage, are you talking in your area finding subcontractors at the quality you want, or are you talking about truly hiring internal, carpentry skilled labor?
Carpentry skilled labor, I find, is that, like, we run an apprenticeship program, so we got 6 apprentices. I can't hire a laborer without offering them an apprenticeship at this point. So nobody really wants to do it, which blows me away. We have all these high unemployment numbers, and then I'm like, come here, we'll teach you how to swing a hammer.
Yeah, I guess I've always wondered that, because literally everybody I talked to over the last year and a half of doing this podcast, if the topic of labor comes up, it's like, yeah, can't find anybody. So are you set up to train somebody? Like, give me anybody who's got like a good work ethic, halfway smart, and we'll get them to where they need to be. Is that how you're set up?
Yeah. We run, like I said, we have about 6 apprentices right now, and we invest a lot of time and money into putting a program together for them. We pay for their school, tool allowance.
Wow. So it is really mind-boggling, if you have a low unemployment, why somebody wouldn't want to do that. What do you think that is? Just like the hard work kind of thing, or?
I don't know.
Your guess is good as mine, Paul. Jesus.
I don't get it.
That's crazy. I don't get that either. I mean, but again, maybe it's just a perception thing of like working in construction. But again, if you look at it, you're paying good money too. Like, you can make a lot of money. You're working with your hands, you're indoors, you're outdoors. Like, there's a ton of like, why wouldn't a high school kid want to do this? Or, graduate. Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple high schools in town that they run a carpentry program, so you can spend your last year of your grade 12 or whatever in a carpentry program. You go and they'll build a foundation or build garages or something like that. But it's getting in front of those people and getting them in. I mean, I was ticketed at 22. So. Mind you, my dad is a contractor. I didn't have a choice. So
yeah. What does ticketed mean? What does that mean?
Oh, so we have a Red Seal program in Canada. So you get your journeyman ticket after you do 4 years of school and 6,000 hours of training or whatever.
Oh, got it. Okay. So I guess, and you sit on the board. So the organization just needs to start marketing, and also maybe business owners like you need to start thinking about marketing dollars. Like, hey, we need to spend some money on recruiting. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, we've been pumping Indeed. I think we've been writing checks to Indeed for the last 2 years. Instagram, Facebook. We've even taken out ads in the local radio. Trying to drum up some recruits. So.
All right, we've got a lot of listeners. You're in a beautiful part of Canada, right? Where are you at again?
Victoria, British Columbia.
Victoria, British Columbia. If you are listening right now, you're living in the United States or in Canada, hit up Blaise on Instagram. Fly out. I guess you probably have to quarantine for a couple weeks if you do that right now. But there's worse places to quarantine than where you're at, and go work for Blaise.
I'm looking for an operations manager, project manager. I need a drafts person.
Okay, I like it.
Carpenters, laborers, driver.
Calling everybody, go work for Blaise. I know he's a great guy and a good company. So there's your plug right there. We'll follow you on Instagram. It's Mac Renos. So looking at this year, I guess would it be safe to say, as a summary of your last year, as a business owner, navigating all that information flow, keeping your team motivated, keeping people hired, surviving 2020 and 2021 is looking pretty good?
It's looking pretty good. Yeah. Like I said, it's just different problems.
Yeah.
I think I was at a design meeting this morning. We have 46 projects in design, which is the most we've ever had at this point. So
holy moly.
Yeah, I got nobody to draw them. That's the problem. So.
And are your clientele understanding of just kind of all the factors that are going into maybe not being able to start their project as soon as they'd like, or get designs back as soon as they can? Do they kind of get it? Yeah,
they get it. The media is all over it too. There's no shortage of press on it, and if they want the best, they got to wait. So
yeah, that's a good position to be in. Well, you guys do a great job up there. I've known you for it's 10 years now. So really appreciate you hopping on, giving us kind of a rundown of how it was up north during this time, and I'm glad to hear you got a plethora of projects coming down the pike. If you want to go work in a beautiful area for a great guy and a great company, hit up Blaise on Instagram and tell your friends about it. and give him a follow.
At Mac Renos.
At Mac Renos. Hey, man, great to see you again. Hopefully one day we'll catch each other, have a beer on that trade show circuit again.
That sounds good.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Thank you again for tuning in to this episode of The Building Code. Make sure you subscribe and like wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, head out to Facebook and join the Building Code crew. And finally, drop me a line at podcast@buildertrend.com. We want to hear from you, suggestions on guests or topics, anything. Thanks so much for joining and appreciate you.